giving you a voice.
Making it loud our own way.
Welcome to the fun.
Let's hop over to the U.S. North. So compared to some of the other regions, the northern states have been very busy with FTC since the beginning of the season. Illinois, Iowa, Michigan, Minnesota have all been busy with league meets so far this year. Michigan hasn't been busy with league meets. What am I talking about? Illinois and Iowa are exclusively league meets, while Indiana has one league and numerous qualifiers. Minnesota has two leagues and numerous qualifiers. And then Michigan is exclusively qualifiers. FTC tournaments have not started yet in Wisconsin, South Dakota, and then Ohio has only had one qualifier so far. So let's start off with my state of Illinois, where there have been about 20 league meets so far this year. And looking at state rankings, the top three teams so far are 10-0-91 Nyan Robotics, who has a 10-0 record after two meets. 14-167 Savage Penguins, a second-year team with a record of 9-1. And then 94-10 Frank's Garage, my school's freshman team, with a record of 9-1. Yeah, represent. Though to be noted, some of the other very competitive teams haven't had two meets yet. And one of those very competitive teams is 14-6-15 Turbocharged, who has a perfect 5-0 record so far after one league meet. No, we're not talking about them just because they're doing a giveaway. We're talking about them because they're a great robot. So this is the robot right here on the left side in front. It's a super simple design that we've seen a lot of other teams do. An arm that extends in with a little collector that can only hold two minerals, and for the most part, they go for silver minerals as much as possible. They just kind of shuffle back and forth. It's really effective, and them along with 10-2-6-8, the Giraffes, currently hold the Illinois high score of 293 points from this match here. Yeah, do you guys have anything to say? I mean, you can just kind of looking at this, you guys can see the I don't want to offend teams, but the lack of the not as highly competitive leagues that exist in Illinois.
A drivetrain.
That's what a lot of league is right now,
and that's okay. Being competitive in leagues isn't super important.
That's true. I think that this kind of stratification, like of the good versus the not so good teams, happens everywhere. I don't think that it's necessarily based region by region. I think that it actually has a bit more to do with this year's game, because even though I thought that it would be a simpler game, like coming into it in the first chats that like the first things, like the first FTC live stuff I've done, I was like, oh, this is an easy game. I wholeheartly take that back, especially from my experience. It's not an easy game. So I think that has a bit to do with why this kind of stratification is occurring. And once again, it's very similar to what happened in Rescue, right? You had the good teams and you had the not so good teams very, very clearly defined.
I think what we're seeing from this game is that it's kind of easy for the more competitive teams and pretty challenging for rookie teams. Because for the competitive teams, a lot of this is stuff that teams already have experience with. Even, the minerals being the same, teams know how to pick up and score blocks and balls. But for rookie teams, in order to even score in the floor depot, they have to be able to get minerals for the most part out of the crater. And so there's kind of an initial big step that teams have to take in order to be able to get competitive in this game.
Totally.
Like personally, we're going for a more complicated design than I've ever done before. Actually, no, that like than what most other teams are doing. But like the reason we're able to do this is because like I've done this before, right? Like my experiences have allowed it to like become allowed us to have that idea and be able to like do it. But I 100% think that if a team hasn't done this in the last 4 years or so, or like until even like the last 2 years, they're at a significant disadvantage coming into the game.
Yeah. I think we have a video of Tech Hogs that someone threw in the chat queued up here. Ethan's so excited. I saw a little bit of the green. There we go. It looks like they're at that the back.
Yeah, it seemed the drivetrain seems similar to last year.
It looks exactly like last year's drivetrain.
It probably
I think that's the same thing.
It works, right?
It works.
Yeah. We haven't seen a lot of 6-inch wheels this year, which surprises me. I expected to see them everywhere.
I did too. That's very true. I think that the robot in 3 days of the other team, what was that team? 7129, I believe. That showed how it's viable to not cross the crater, and I think that a lot of teams are sort of like going off of that very strongly, which doesn't require such large wheels.
Something that my team did this year was downsize our wheels. We've always done 4-inch wheels or larger in the past. And this year we did 3-inch wheels to make it harder for the robot to drive up onto minerals. And that was probably the motivation for some teams not using 6 or 8-inch wheels this year, is trying to not drive up and get stuck on playing elements.
Interesting.
Yeah, for us too, everything that we've done, like our drive motors are, I believe, like a 1/4 inch off the ground, very, very close. Everything that we've done is to prevent our robot from climbing on anything, and to have a low center of gravity. So I think because we do have to raise up, so I think that that's one of the key motivators for a lot of teams.
Yeah, my team has done the complete opposite. We do have 4-inch Mecanum wheels, but we're using, I need some pictures to show in the future. We're using suspension, sort of.
Oh, okay.
So
interesting.
Our Mecanum wheels sit in like, they're on pods that can flex back and forth. So when we drive up under the crater, the front pods flex, and then when we go over, they extend back straight, and then the other ones flex as you kind of roll over the crater.
That's very cool.
Bad part is when you drive really fast and you stop, the front dips because of the weight. But
interesting.
Yeah, interesting. So Ethan, here was your video of Tech Hogs. It looks like they might have had a little trouble getting stuck on the lander leg there. But
I was too busy looking at their drivetrain. That thing was.
All right, I think we're going to move on and turn our attention to Ohio for a minute. So there has been one qualifier so far in Ohio, that is the Austintown qualifier. And the top 2 teams rank-wise were 6298 Broken Axles and 13172 Centipede, who both went undefeated. The winning alliance for this event was comprised of 6298 Broken Axles, 8719 Quantum Leap, and 15682 Rust in Peace. RIP. So I think we're going. Yeah, pieces. My God, Rust in Pieces. I said that wrong. I think we're going to move on to our next state, which is Michigan. So Michigan FTC has been up and running in full steam since the beginning of November. There have been around 20 qualifiers so far in Michigan, with I think another 5 qualifiers happening this weekend. So we're going to be doing a full big recap of the Michigan State tournament on our next FTC recap show, which is in 2 weeks on December 19th. Something else that's cool, I will also be at the Michigan State tournament, which takes place on December 14th and 15th. On Saturday, December 15th, PJ, a fun FRC host, and I will be hosting the First Updates Now, First in Michigan, and the Orange Alliance Game Day desk, where we will be discussing key qualification matches in depth throughout the day, and we'll be doing interviews with teams and key volunteers, and we're doing a whole lot of broadcast and webcast specific stuff just for you guys, the viewers. So that will be here on Fun on Saturday the 15th. So match-wise, the current high score in the world, according to the Orange Alliance, comes from the Mason FTC qualifier in Michigan. So I think we want to check out this match and see what teams on the Blue Alliance did to score an astonishing 382 points. So whenever we get that video loaded up, we can see that. This match is also on the Orange Alliance. If you guys are curious and want to see the match breakdown of what happened, I think we.
That's truly insane. Like there's a lot of that's just a huge amount of scoring potential.
The crazier part to me is Michigan is middle schoolers.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
We're all getting our butts kicked by a bunch of middle schoolers.
Yeah, definitely. I think that the way the Michigan dynamic is quite interesting, actually, with like how they have to try to like diverge between FRC and FTC. But like, I believe they have a lot more institutionalized resources available to themselves. Like, obviously, I have no like actual experience. This is just my commentary. So if this is not the case, please feel free to correct me in the comments. But I think that like that really allows them with like they have a real capability. And I believe from 85-33 that was a double sample autonomous, if I was not mistaken. Was that?
I think so. I
Wow.
missed it.
That was a very unique auto path, though. So they went, dropped off their team marker, and then did their sampling.
Interesting. It looks like their alliance partner just went off to the left.
Oh, okay. That's very cool.
think, yeah, we can
Whoa,
see
look
their
at that arm.
Yeah,
It's very quick
So-
stuff.
really quick stuff. Yeah, so that arm articulates back. If we didn't have the rule about blocking the path and about holding, and if we could initially use what everyone initially thought was the loophole for the creator rules, this would be an even more efficient robot. And it looks like they have some mechanism, I can't tell though, that sorts balls and blocks. So it looks like one goes one way, the other side flips the other way. Yeah, I don't know if you guys saw that. They roll two ways.
So my question is, when they're extended and they have contact, oh, this is much less than 5 seconds, so they're fine. Okay.
And
So
it doesn't,
I think they've found that the other loophole in the new rules, which is that you do get 5 seconds even though you're blocking the entire access point.
so the biggest thing, and I've talked with the Alex from TOA said, yes, that was a double sample. So the biggest thing that I've talked with the head ref in Illinois about is, yes, there is that 5 second rule, but that's contingent that another team is trying to use that path. And that's what I think a lot of teams forget about these rules that are kind of covering defense. Things like blocking, pinning, rules like blocking access in this area all have to do with another robot attempting to go there to show that that team is doing anything. So they could sit there for more than 5 seconds for the entire match, and as long as another opposing alliance's robot doesn't try to cross that path, it doesn't matter. It's well within the rules.
Well, I see.
So
That's actually very cool.
It's pretty rare for, in this case, a Red Alliance robot to want to drive in front of that Blue Alliance silver cargo hold, because there's not much for them to do over there. The best they can do is pick up from that crater.
Yeah,
So in most cases, they're probably just able to camp out.
Totally, yeah. And that'll probably get them pretty far.
Wow,
As someone said,
definitely.
basically defense this bot. I guess defensing that bot is a strategy. You'll see. So,
But then again, it's hard to see that robot, especially because of the lander, right? So like it creates another element of
Totally.
it's another protection basically for the teams.
well, yeah, I guess the drive team on the far right could probably see what's going on. The other drive team can't. So,
True.
So I think we're going to move on and talk about Minnesota. So Minnesota has seen some competitive play this year. There have been a few league meets running since the beginning of November, and there have been 2 qualifiers so far. At the Egan qualifier in November 10th, the Inspire Award winner was 10-2-73. The Cat in the Hat comes back, and the winning alliance was comprised of 10-3-64 Time Pilots, 92-58 the Glorious Dweebs, and 45-09 Excalibots. At the Lakeview South High School qualifier, the Inspire Award winner was 71-90 Green Girls Robotics. So congratulations to fun FTC host Grace and her team. And the winning alliance was comprised of 53-30 Robotic Rush, 28-87 Bucket Brigade, and 46-44 Robotic Adrenaline. And lastly, the North Branch Middle School qualifier occurred this past weekend, but we have no event information, so we cannot report to you on what happened with that. So Ethan, do you want to give us a quick run through of what's happening in Iowa? I know you kind of talked about that earlier.
Yeah, so I can go into a little bit about Iowa. So we run through leagues. There's one really big league, which has 113-16, the Weapons of Mass Construction, 41-77, the Finger Titans, and the team I mentor, 72-36 Recharged Green. So we're running through some early leagues still. We have 5 league meets this year. So having a league meet every 2 weeks has kind of been taking some of our butts. So we aren't super great yet, but we saw some really good play out of the Weapons Mass Construction from Indianola. We saw some good play out of 41-77, and Recharged did pretty well as well. So they're 9-1 in competitive play so far. Outside of our league, we've seen 104-35, the Circuit Breakers, who won the World's Innovative World last year out of somewhere in Iowa. They released a match video, which I couldn't find, but they are another one of those low pivot point actuators. I think they got 6 or 7 cycles. So they end up doing pretty good, and
Nice.
I'm excited to see how they do. Past that, yes.
Anything else? Sorry.
Past that, I don't have anything else. I'm hopefully volunteering at some more events. later. So I should have some more information about that.
All right, so lastly, we have Indiana League meets, which have been running for the past few weeks, but unfortunately there is no match data, so I can't talk about them. And the first Indiana qualifier is this upcoming weekend.
Thank you to all of our co-executive producers, keeping fun loud, live, and independent. Pledge your support at patreon.com/first updates now.